Bear cub, jammed in a hotel sheet folder and taken to hospital. What this baby did was shocking. Let us know where you're watching from. If you love my content, consider supporting it with a super thanks. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. It'll help us to remain in touch with amazing people like you. The morning mist clung to Pine Ridge Hotel like a secret waiting to be told. Deep in the basement laundry room, the industrial washing machines hummed their familiar tune, while Maya Chen folded towels with practiced hands. She had worked here for 3 years, but today felt different. The air seemed charged, like something was about to happen. Outside, the forest pressed close to the hotel's back wall. Too close, some said. But the guests loved waking up to see deer grazing just beyond their windows. What they didn't know was that other creatures wandered these woods too. A small brown bear cub, no bigger than a medium-sized dog, sniffed around the hotel's service entrance. His mother had sent him to find water while she searched for berries higher up the mountain. The little cub's nose twitched as he caught the scent of something sweet coming from inside the building. Maya paused in her folding as she heard a strange scratching sound. She looked around the laundry room but saw nothing unusual. The massive sheet-folding machine stood silent in the corner, waiting for the afternoon shift. She shrugged and went back to her work. 3 floors above, in the hotel's sunny breakfast room, baby Zara giggled in her high chair. At just 10 months old, she had the biggest brown eyes anyone had ever seen. Her parents, Noah and Claire, were staying at the hotel for their anniversary weekend. They thought a quiet mountain getaway would be perfect for their little family. "She's been so fussy lately," Claire whispered to Noah as she spooned mashed banana into Zara's mouth. "Maybe the mountain air will help her sleep better." Noah nodded, but he was distracted by something outside the window. A flash of brown had caught his eye, moving near the tree line. He blinked, and it was gone. Back in the basement, Maya heard the scratching sound again. This time it was louder, more urgent. She set down her towel and walked toward the corner where the sheet-folding machine sat. The scratching seemed to be coming from behind it. "Hello?" she called out, feeling a bit silly. "Is someone there?" The response came as a small, frightened whimper. Maya's heart jumped. That didn't sound human. She hurried around the machine and gasped. There, with his tiny paw caught in the machine's side panel, was the bear cub. His dark eyes were wide with fear, and he was pulling frantically at his trapped paw. The more he struggled, the tighter the metal seemed to grip him. "Oh my God," Maya breathed. She had never seen a wild animal this close before. The cub was beautiful, but clearly terrified. His fur was soft and thick, and she could see he was just a baby. Maya knew she should call for help, but something made her hesitate. The cub's eyes met hers, and she saw something there that broke her heart. He wasn't just scared. He was asking for help. "It's okay, little one," she whispered, taking a small step closer. "I won't hurt you." The cub stopped struggling for a moment and tilted his head. His small nose twitched as he tried to understand if this human was a friend or enemy. Maya reached for her phone to call the front desk, but as she moved, the cub panicked again. He pulled so hard against the machine that she heard a small crack. She wasn't sure if it was the machine or his paw. "Don't move," she said softly, though she knew he couldn't understand her words. Maybe he could understand her tone. "Please don't move." Upstairs, baby Zara suddenly stopped eating. Her little face scrunched up, and she let out a wail that made other guests turn and stare. It wasn't her usual cry. This was different, deeper, almost like she was in pain. "What's wrong with her?" Claire asked, lifting Zara from the high chair. But no matter what she did, the baby wouldn't stop crying. The cub heard the baby's cry 3 floors above, and something strange happened. He stopped pulling at his paw and listened. His small ears perked up, and he made a soft sound in response. Maya noticed the change immediately. "What is it, little guy? Do you hear that, baby, too?" She tried again to free the cub's paw, but the machine had grabbed it tight. The metal panel had somehow twisted when the cub first got stuck, creating a trap that got worse the more he struggled. Maya could see that his paw was starting to swell. "I have to get help," she told him. "I'll be right back." But when she started to leave, the cub made such a heartbroken sound that she stopped. It was like he was begging her not to abandon him. Maya looked at the cub, then at her phone, then back at the cub. His breathing was getting faster, and she could tell he was going into shock. There was no time to wait for others to figure out what to do. She made a decision that would change everything. Maya called the front desk directly. "This is Maya in laundry. I need you to call the emergency animal rescue. We have a situation." "What kind of situation?" asked Derek, the daytime manager. Maya looked at the cub, who was watching her with those trusting eyes. "There's a baby bear stuck in our equipment. He's hurt, and we need help now." The silence on the other end of the phone lasted so long that Maya thought the call had dropped. "Did you just say a baby bear?" Derek finally asked. "Yes, and he's in pain. Please hurry." What Maya didn't know was that Derek's call would set off a chain of events that no one could have predicted. The emergency animal rescue was 20 minutes away, but they told Derek to call the veterinary hospital too, just in case. Dr. Sarah Kim at Mountain View Animal Hospital had seen many injured wild animals, but she had never gotten a call about a bear cub trapped in hotel equipment. She grabbed her emergency kit and headed for her truck. Back in the basement, Maya sat on the floor near the cub, talking to him in a gentle voice. She couldn't touch him without risking getting hurt herself, but she could let him know he wasn't alone. "Help is coming," she promised. "Just hold on a little longer." The cub seemed to understand. He had stopped panicking and was just breathing hard, his small chest rising and falling rapidly. Every few minutes he would make a soft sound, almost like he was trying to talk to her. Upstairs, baby Zara had finally stopped crying, but now she was doing something that puzzled her parents. She kept pointing toward the floor and making urgent little sounds, like she was trying to tell them something important. "What do you think she wants?" Noah asked. Claire shook her head. "I have no idea. She's never acted like this before." They had no way of knowing that their baby could somehow sense the frightened cub 3 floors below, or that very soon she would do something that would shock everyone in the hotel. The emergency rescue team arrived 15 minutes later, but they brought unexpected news. Tom Bradley, the lead rescuer, shook his head as he examined the situation in the basement. "We can't use our usual equipment here," he told Derek and Maya. "This machine is too close to the electrical panels. One wrong move and we could electrocute the cub." Maya felt her heart sink. The little bear had been trapped for almost an hour now, and his paw was definitely swollen. Worse, he had started making weak little sounds that broke her heart. "What about cutting the machine?" Derek suggested. Tom shook his head again. The vibration could crush his paw completely. And look at how he's positioned. If we startle him and he jerks back, he could break his own leg. Dr. Sarah Kim arrived just as they were discussing options. She was a small woman with kind eyes and gentle hands that had saved hundreds of animals over the years. But as she looked at the trapped cub, even she seemed worried. "He's going into shock," she said after observing him for a moment. "His breathing is too fast, and look at his eyes. We need to get him out of there soon, or we might lose him." The cub seemed to sense the humans talking about him. He tried to lift his head to look at Doctor. Kim and Maya saw something that made her gasp. There were tears in the little bear's eyes. Actual tears. "I've never seen anything like that," Dr. Kim whispered. "Bears don't usually cry tears when they're hurt. He must be in incredible pain." Maya knelt down again, ignoring the warnings from the rescue team. "Hey, little guy, I'm still here. We're going to help you." The cub looked at her and made a soft sound that was almost like a purr. Despite everything, he still trusted her. Meanwhile, 3 floors up, something strange was happening with baby Zara. She had crawled out of her parents' sight while they were packing their things, and now she was sitting by the elevator, pressing the button over and over. "Zara!" Claire called, rushing over to pick her up. "What are you doing, sweetie?" But every time Claire tried to carry her away from the elevator, Zara would start crying again. Not just crying, screaming like she was terrified. "She keeps pointing downward," Noah observed. "It's like she wants to go down." Claire looked at her husband like he was crazy. "She's 10 months old, Noah. She doesn't even know what an elevator is." But Zara kept pressing the elevator button with determination that surprised both her parents. When the doors finally opened, she crawled inside before they could stop her. "Oh, no," Claire said, rushing in after her. "This is getting out of hand." Noah followed them into the elevator, and Zara immediately stopped crying. She sat in the middle of the elevator floor and pointed down again, making urgent little sounds. "Should we press a button?" Noah asked. Before Claire could answer, Zara crawled over to the buttons and somehow managed to press B for basement. The elevator started moving down. "How did she know to do that?" Claire whispered. Back in the basement, the rescue team was getting desperate. They had tried everything they could think of, but the cub's paw was stuck tight. Dr. Kim had managed to give him a mild sedative to help with the pain, but it was only making him drowsier, not solving the main problem. "We might have to call in specialized equipment from the city," Tom said, "but that could take hours." "He doesn't have hours, Doctor," Kim replied quietly. Maya had stayed by the cub's side the whole time, talking to him and keeping him calm. She noticed that every time she stopped talking, he would get more agitated. It was like her voice was the only thing keeping him from complete panic. "What if we tried something else?" Maya suggested. "What if instead of trying to free his paw, we tried to dismantle this part of the machine?" Tom looked at her with interest. "What do you mean?" "I've worked with this machine for 3 years. This side panel isn't structural. It's just a safety cover. If we could remove it completely, his paw might slide right out." Dr. Kim examined the machine more carefully. "She might be right. Look at this. The panel is only held on by 6 bolts. If we could support the cub's weight while we remove them. But we'd need someone small enough to get in there and hold him steady," Tom said. All eyes turned to Maya. She was the smallest person in the group, and the cub already trusted her. "I'll do it," she said without hesitation. "It's dangerous," Dr. Kim warned. "If he panics while you're that close—" "He won't panic," Maya said firmly. "Will you, little guy?" The cub looked at her and made that soft purring sound again. Even Tom had to admit that the bear seemed unusually calm with Maya. They were just starting to plan the rescue attempt when the elevator doors opened. Noah and Claire stepped out, carrying a very determined baby Zara. "Excuse me," Noah said to the group of people in the basement. "We're sorry to bother you, but our baby somehow led us down here and she won't stop crying unless we—" He stopped talking when he saw the bear cub. "Oh my God," Claire breathed. "Is that a real bear?" Zara saw the cub and immediately stopped fussing. She pointed at him and made excited little sounds, like she was trying to tell her parents something important. "We should get them out of here," Tom said. "This is dangerous." But something remarkable happened next. The moment baby Zara saw the trapped cub, The little bear lifted his head and looked directly at her. For a few seconds, the baby and the cub just stared at each other across the room. Then, Zara did something that made everyone gasp. She started making the same soft purring sound that the cub had been making. The exact same sound. "That's impossible," Dr. Kim whispered. "How could she know to make that sound?" The cub responded immediately. He tried to sit up straighter and made his purring sound back to the baby. It was like they were having a conversation that none of the adults could understand. Maya felt tears in her eyes. They're talking to each other. Claire looked at her baby in amazement. Zara had never made sounds like that before. She was usually a quiet baby who mostly giggled and babbled normal baby sounds. "We should really get them away from here," Tom said again, but his voice was softer now. Even he could see that something special was happening. "Wait," Dr. Kim said. "Look at the cub." The little bear had stopped breathing so rapidly. His eyes were brighter, and he seemed more alert. Just being able to see the baby had somehow given him strength. "Maybe they should stay," Maya suggested, "if it's helping him." Noah looked at his wife. "What do you think?" Claire was torn. Every instinct told her to protect her baby from a wild animal. But Zara seemed so calm and happy, and the little bear looked so gentle. "Just for a few minutes," she said finally. Maya smiled and turned back to the cub. "Okay, little guy, we're going to try something new. Your friend is here to help you be brave." The cub looked from Maya to baby Zara and back again. He seemed to understand that these humans were trying to help him, but just as they were about to start the rescue attempt, they heard something that made everyone freeze. From somewhere outside the hotel came a deep, rumbling sound that every person in that basement recognized. It was the sound of a very large, very angry mother bear looking for her missing baby. "Oh no," Tom whispered. "She's found us." The cub heard his mother's call and let out a weak cry in response. The sound was heartbreaking, like a child calling for help. Maya looked at the group of people around her. "We need to get him out now, before she breaks down the hotel looking for him." But the mother bear's roar was getting closer, and everyone knew that an angry mother bear was one of the most dangerous animals in the world. Baby Zara heard the roar too, but instead of getting scared, she did something that shocked everyone. She looked toward the ceiling, opened her tiny mouth and let out a sound that was remarkably similar to the mother bear's call. Not exactly the same, but close enough that it made the cub stop crying and look at her with what could only be described as hope. "She's calling to the mother," Maya realized. "She's trying to tell her that her baby is safe." But would it work? And could they free the cub before his mother's protective instincts took over? The sound of heavy footsteps outside was getting closer, and everyone in the basement knew they were running out of time. The mother bear's roar echoed through the building again, and this time it was so close that the windows in the basement rattled. Tom grabbed his radio and called for backup, but they all knew help wouldn't arrive in time. "We have to try now," Maya said, moving toward the trapped cub, "before she breaks in here." But Dr. Kim grabbed her arm. "Wait. Listen." Everyone went silent. Outside, the mother bear had stopped roaring. Instead, they could hear a different sound, a low, gentle rumbling. It was the sound a mother bear makes when she's trying to comfort her baby. "She heard the baby's call," Dr. Kim whispered in amazement. "She thinks her cub responded to her." Baby Zara seemed to understand what was happening. She looked at the cub and made another soft sound, different from before. This time it was like a lullaby, gentle and soothing. The trapped cub's eyes widened. He made a weak but happy sound back to Zara. And something incredible happened. His body relaxed completely. The panic and fear that had been making his muscles tight just melted away. "Look at his paw," Maya said excitedly. With the cub's body relaxed, his paw had shifted slightly in the machine. It wasn't free yet, but there was more space around it now. "That's our chance," Tom said. "Maya, if you can get in there and support him while I remove these bolts." Maya didn't hesitate. She crawled under the machine until she was right next to the cub. This close, she could see every detail of his small face. His eyes were brown with flecks of gold, and his nose was pink and wet. He was even more beautiful than she had thought. "Hey there, brave boy," she whispered. "Your mama's right outside, and your little friend is here with us. We're going to get you free." The cub looked at her with complete trust. Maya carefully placed her hands on either side of his small body, ready to support his weight when Tom removed the panel. But just as Tom started working on the first bolt, they heard something that made everyone's blood run cold. The mother bear wasn't just outside anymore. She was inside the hotel. They could hear her heavy footsteps on the floor above them, and the sound of furniture being knocked over as she searched for her baby. "Oh, God," Claire whispered, clutching Zara tighter. "She's looking for him." The hotel guests upstairs were screaming and running. Derek's voice came over Tom's radio, panicked and breathless. "She's huge," Derek reported. "She broke through the back door like it was paper. She's going room to room, and she's getting more agitated because she can't find the cub." Maya looked at the little bear in her arms. He was trying to call out to his mother, but he was too weak. His small voice couldn't carry through the ceiling. She can't hear him, Maya realized. That's why she's getting more upset. Baby Zara seemed to understand the problem. She looked at Maya, then at the cub, then up at the ceiling. Her little face scrunched up in concentration like she was trying to solve a puzzle. Then Zara did something that made Maya's heart skip a beat. The baby pointed at the cub, then pointed at herself, then pointed upward. It was like she was saying, "He needs to talk to her, and I can help." "I think she wants to help him call his mother," Maya said in amazement. Claire looked at her baby like she was seeing her for the first time. "That's impossible. She's just a baby." But Noah was watching Zara carefully. "Look at her eyes, Claire. Really look at them. She knows exactly what's happening here." Zara made another gesture, this time reaching toward the cub with her tiny hand. Maya understood immediately. "She wants to touch him," Maya said. "She thinks that will help her understand what sound he needs to make." Dr. Kim looked concerned. "Even a baby bear can be dangerous if he gets startled." "He won't hurt her," Maya said with certainty. "Look at him." The cub was watching baby Zara with the same fascination that she was watching him. When Zara reached out her hand, he actually tried to stretch his free paw toward her. Maya made a decision that went against every safety rule she knew. She shifted her position so that Zara could touch the cub's paw. The moment the baby's tiny fingers made contact with the cub's fur, something extraordinary happened. Zara's whole body went still, like she was listening to something only she could hear. Then she opened her mouth and let out a sound that was absolutely perfect. It was exactly the sound a baby bear would make when calling for his mother. Not similar, identical. The effect was immediate. The cub lifted his head as much as he could and joined his voice with Zara's. Together, they created a call that carried through the building like a song. Upstairs, the mother bear stopped destroying furniture. Everyone could hear her pause, listening. Then came the sound of heavy paws running toward the basement stairs. "She's coming," Tom said, working frantically on the bolts. "I've got 4 more to go." "Hurry, Doctor," Kim urged, but her voice was calm. She was watching something incredible. Baby Zara hadn't stopped making the bear sounds. But now she was also making her own baby sounds at the same time, creating a melody that seemed to tell the mother bear exactly what she needed to know. Your baby is safe. He's hurt, but he's not alone. Good humans are helping him. The cub seemed to understand what Zara was doing. He added his own voice to hers, and Maya could swear she heard gratitude in his small sounds. The basement door burst open, and the mother bear appeared at the top of the stairs. She was massive, at least 6 feet tall and covered in thick brown fur that made her look even bigger. Her eyes were wild with worry and protective rage. Everyone in the basement froze. Even Tom stopped working on the bolts. The mother bear looked around the room, taking in the scene. She saw the humans, she saw her trapped baby, and she saw tiny Zara still making those perfect bear sounds. For a moment that felt like hours, nobody moved. Then the mother bear did something that nobody expected. She sat down at the top of the stairs and began making gentle sounds back to Zara and her cub. She wasn't threatening anymore. She was joining the conversation. "She's talking to them," Maya whispered in wonder. The three-way conversation between mother bear, baby bear, and human baby continued while Tom worked on the remaining bolts. Maya could feel the cub's body getting stronger as he heard his mother's voice. "2 more bolts," Tom announced quietly. But just as he was about to remove the 5th bolt, disaster struck. His tool slipped and clanged loudly against the machine. The sudden noise startled everyone, but especially the mother bear. Her maternal instincts kicked in immediately. She saw her baby trapped, surrounded by humans, and she roared in fury. The roar was so loud that it hurt everyone's ears. Baby Zara started crying, not from fear but from the painful sound. The mother bear stood up and started down the stairs, her eyes fixed on the humans around her cub. "Nobody move," Dr. Kim said quietly. "Don't look her in the eyes. Make yourselves as small as possible." But Maya couldn't make herself small. She was still holding the cub, and she knew that if the mother bear attacked, her baby would get hurt worse. The mother bear reached the bottom of the stairs and started walking slowly toward the group. Her massive paws made no sound on the concrete floor, which somehow made her even more frightening. Maya looked at the cub in her arms. His eyes were wide with fear, not for himself, but for her. He made a small sound that seemed to say, "Let me go. Save yourself." But Maya held him tighter. "I'm not leaving you," she whispered. The mother bear was only 10 feet away now. Maya could see every detail of her face, could smell her wild scent, could feel the power radiating from her huge body. Then baby Zara did something that changed everything. The tiny girl crawled out of her mother's arms, right toward the approaching bear. Claire tried to grab her, but Zara was surprisingly fast for a 10-month-old. "Zara, no!" Claire screamed. But Zara crawled right up to the mother bear's massive front paws and sat down. She looked up at the giant animal and made the gentlest sound anyone had ever heard. It wasn't a bear sound this time. It was purely human, the sound of a baby who wanted to help. The mother bear looked down at this tiny human who showed no fear of her. "Yeah," Zara reached up with both hands, like she wanted to be picked up. For a moment, Maya thought her heart would stop beating. Then the mother bear did something that made everyone in that basement question everything they thought they knew about wild animals. She gently lowered her massive head until her nose was level with baby Zara. The two of them looked into each other's eyes and some kind of understanding passed between them. Zara placed her tiny hand on the bear's nose and made another soft sound. This time, Maya heard words mixed in with the baby sounds. "Help," Zara said clearly. It was her first real word. "Help, baby." The mother bear pulled back and looked at her trapped cub, then at Maya, who was still holding him, then back at tiny Zara, who was asking her to trust the humans. Maya held her breath as the mother bear made her decision. Slowly, carefully, the giant animal moved closer to the machine. She sniffed at her baby, checking to make sure he was alive and not badly hurt. The cub made happy sounds when he smelled his mother's familiar scent. Then the mother bear looked directly at Maya. Their eyes met, and Maya saw something there that shocked her. The bear was asking for her help. "Okay, Mama," Maya whispered. "We're going to free him together." The mother bear moved to one side of the machine while Maya stayed on the other. Tom, hardly believing what he was seeing, started working on the last bolt. But just as he loosened it, they heard sirens outside. Lots of sirens. "That's the wildlife control team," Tom said grimly. "They'll have tranquilizer guns." The mother bear heard the sirens too. Her whole body tensed, and Maya could see the fear in her eyes. She knew what those sounds meant. Humans with weapons were coming for her and her baby. Maya made a decision that would haunt her for the rest of her life. She looked at the mother bear and said, "I won't let them hurt you. I promise." The bear seemed to understand. She moved closer to Maya and gently placed one massive paw on Maya's shoulder. It was a gesture of trust that brought tears to everyone's eyes. "Last bolt," Tom announced, his voice shaking with emotion. As the bolt came free, the machine panel fell away. The cub's paw slid out easily, and he was finally free. Maya lifted the little bear and placed him gently in his mother's arms. The reunion was so beautiful that even Tom had to wipe his eyes. But their joy was short-lived. The sirens were getting louder, and they could hear heavy boots running through the hotel above them. The mother bear looked at Maya one more time, then at baby Zara, who was still sitting fearlessly on the floor. She made a sound that seemed to say, "Thank you." Then she turned toward the basement's back exit, carrying her cub toward freedom. But the wildlife control team was already surrounding the building. There was nowhere for the mother and baby to run. That's when baby Zara crawled over to Maya and tugged on her pants leg. When Maya looked down, Zara pointed toward a small door in the corner of the basement that Maya had never really noticed before. "What's behind that door?" Maya asked Tom. Tom looked where Zara was pointing. "That's the old coal chute from when this building was first built. It leads directly into the forest." Maya's heart jumped. "Is it big enough for them to get through?" "For the cub, yes. But the mother bear..." Tom shook his head. "She's too big." The sound of boots on the stairs told them they were out of time. The wildlife control team would be in the basement any second. Maya looked at the mother bear, who was still holding her baby close. The bear's eyes were full of desperation. She knew she was trapped. That's when baby Zara did the most shocking thing of all. The tiny girl crawled over to the mother bear and tugged on her fur. When the bear looked down, Zara pointed at the coal chute, then made a pushing motion with her hands. Maya understood immediately. "She's telling you to push your baby through first. She knows you're too big, but she has an idea." The mother bear looked at her cub, then at the tiny human who was trying so hard to help them. She carried her baby to the coal chute and gently pushed him through. The cub disappeared into the darkness, safe in the forest. But now the mother bear was alone, surrounded by humans who might hurt her. The basement door burst open, and 3 men in uniforms rushed down the stairs, carrying tranquilizer guns. "Where's the bear?" the leader shouted. Maya looked at baby Zara, who was still sitting next to the mother bear, completely unafraid. Then Maya did something that surprised everyone, including herself. "There's no bear here," she lied. "It already escaped through the back exit." The wildlife control officers looked around the basement suspiciously, but all they saw were hotel employees. some guests with a baby, and an empty machine. They couldn't see the mother bear because baby Zara had done something impossible. Somehow, the tiny girl had convinced the massive wild animal to hide behind the large boiler in the corner, where the shadows were deep enough to conceal her. "Are you sure?" the lead officer asked. "We got reports of a huge bear in this building." "It broke in looking for her cub," Dr. Kim said smoothly. But when she realized he wasn't here, she left the same way she came in. Maya held her breath as the officers looked around one more time. The mother bear was completely still in her hiding spot, and baby Zara was acting like a normal baby, babbling and playing with her toes. "Well, if you see any sign of them, call us immediately," the officer said. "A mother bear with a cub is extremely dangerous." After the officers left, everyone in the basement stood in stunned silence. They had just lied to wildlife control to protect a wild bear. It was probably illegal, definitely dangerous, and absolutely the right thing to do. Maya walked over to where the mother bear was hiding. "They're gone," she said softly. "You can come out now." The bear emerged from the shadows and looked around carefully. When she was sure it was safe, she walked to the coal chute where her baby had disappeared. But before she followed him into the forest, she did something that made Maya cry. The mother bear walked over to baby Zara and very gently touched the little girl's hand with her nose. It was a kiss, a thank you, and a goodbye all at once. Then she looked at Maya and nodded, like one mother acknowledging another. The bear squeezed through the coal chute opening with surprising grace for such a large animal. Within seconds, she had disappeared into the forest to reunite with her cub. Maya sat down hard on the floor, shaking from everything that had just happened. Tom was staring at the coal chute in disbelief. Dr. Kim was checking to make sure no one was hurt, and baby Zara was sitting in the middle of the basement floor, clapping her hands and laughing like she had just watched the best show of her life. "What just happened here?" Claire asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Noah picked up his daughter, who immediately snuggled into his arms. "I think," he said slowly, "our baby just helped save 2 bears and taught us all something about what it means to be human." Maya looked at where the bears had disappeared and smiled through her tears. She did more than that. She showed us that love doesn't have boundaries. Not between species, not between wild and tame, not between anything. But as they all tried to process what they had witnessed, none of them noticed the small detail that would soon lead to an even bigger surprise. In the corner where the mother bear had been hiding, she had left something behind. Something that would change Maya's life forever and prove that this incredible day was far from over. Maya was the first to notice it. As she was cleaning up the basement and trying to make sense of everything that had happened, she saw something glinting in the shadows where the mother bear had crouched. "What's that?" she asked, pointing to the corner. Tom followed her gaze and squinted. "I don't see anything." But Maya walked over and knelt down. There, nestled against the wall, was something that made her gasp. It was a small, perfectly round stone, but it wasn't like any stone she had ever seen. It seemed to glow with an inner light, shifting from deep brown to gold to silver as she watched. "Dr. Kim," Maya called softly, "you need to see this." The veterinarian came over and crouched beside Maya. When she saw the stone, her eyes widened. "That's impossible," she whispered. "What is it?" Claire asked, still holding Zara. Dr. Kim picked up the stone carefully. It was warm to the touch and seemed to pulse gently, like a heartbeat. "I've heard stories about these, but I never believed them. Native American legends speak of spirit stones that mother bears sometimes carry. They're supposed to be gifts from the forest itself." Maya felt a chill run down her spine. "What kind of gifts?" "According to the stories, These stones are given to humans who show extraordinary kindness to wild creatures. They're supposed to create a bond between the human and the natural world. Tom laughed nervously. Come on, Dr. Kim, you don't really believe in that stuff, do you? But before Dr. Kim could answer, something incredible happened. Baby Zara, who had been quietly playing in her father's arms, suddenly became very alert. She looked directly at the stone in Dr. Kim's hands and made a soft cooing sound. The stone responded by glowing brighter. Did you all see that? Noah asked, his voice shaking. Maya reached out and touched the stone. The moment her fingers made contact with its surface, she felt something surge through her body. It wasn't painful, but it was powerful. Like electricity, but warm and alive. Suddenly, Maya could hear things she had never heard before. The whisper of air through the building's vents became a symphony. The distant hum of traffic outside turned into a complex rhythm. And somewhere, far off in the forest, she could hear the happy sounds of a mother bear and her cub, safe and together. Maya, Dr. Kim said, concerned. Are you okay? Maya blinked and looked around. Everyone was staring at her with worried expressions. I'm fine, she said, but her voice sounded different to her own ears, clearer, more confident. Your eyes, Claire whispered. They're different. Maya looked at her reflection in the glass of a nearby window. Claire was right. Her eyes, which had always been plain brown, now had flecks of gold in them, just like the bear cub's eyes. This is getting too weird, Tom said, backing away. Maybe we should call someone. Call who? Dr. Kim asked. And tell them what? That a bear left a magical stone that's changing Maya's eyes. But Maya wasn't listening to their conversation anymore. She was hearing something else. A voice, soft and gentle, speaking in her mind. Thank you, the voice said. It was definitely female and definitely not human. You saved my baby. Now I give you a gift. Maya looked around, but nobody else seemed to hear the voice. What gift? Maya asked out loud, not caring that the others would think she was talking to herself. The gift of understanding, the voice replied. You will always know when an animal needs help. You will be able to speak to them in their own language, and they will trust you as they trusted you today. Maya felt tears streaming down her face. Is this real? As real as the love you showed my son, the voice said. As real as the courage you showed when you protected us. Baby Zara made another soft sound, and Maya realized she could understand what the baby was trying to communicate. Zara was saying that she could hear the voice too. You can hear her, can't you? Maya asked Zara. Zara clapped her hands and giggled, which Maya somehow knew meant yes. Dr. Kim was watching this exchange with fascination. Maya, I think something extraordinary is happening to you, and to the baby. What do you mean? Claire asked, holding Zara tighter. Look at them, Dr. Kim said. Really look at them. They're communicating on a level that none of us can understand. It was true. Maya and Zara were looking at each other with a new kind of recognition. They had shared something today that had changed them both forever, but their moment of wonder was interrupted by Derek's voice over Tom's radio. Emergency in the hotel lobby. Derek's voice crackled. We need everyone up here immediately. Tom grabbed his radio. What kind of emergency? It's the guests, Derek replied, his voice tight with stress. They're all talking about what happened in the basement. Word is spreading fast. We've got reporters calling, and some kind of animal rights group is demanding to search the building. Maya felt her heart sink. If people found out about the bears, Wildlife Control would come back with more officers and bigger guns. The mother and cub would never be safe. "We have to do something," she said. "Like what?" Tom asked. Maya looked at the stone in her hands, then at baby Zara, who was watching her with those knowing eyes. "I don't know yet, but I think this stone is going to help us figure it out." They all went upstairs to find chaos in the hotel lobby. At least 20 people were gathered in groups, talking excitedly about the bear sighting. Maya could hear fragments of their conversations as she walked through the crowd. "Saw it with my own eyes, a huge bear right in the building. They say there was a baby bear too. Some woman in the basement was talking to it like it was a pet." Maya felt sick. These people were going to turn her story into entertainment. They didn't understand what had really happened down there. But as she listened more carefully, she realized something surprising. The guests weren't just gossiping. They were worried about the bears. "I hope they got away safely," an elderly woman was saying to her husband. "Those poor creatures," another guest added. "They were probably just looking for food." "Did anyone call to make sure wildlife control didn't hurt them?" a young man asked Derek. Maya felt a warmth spread through her chest. These people actually cared about what happened to the bears. That's when she felt the stone in her pocket grow warm again. The voice of the mother bear spoke in her mind once more. "Tell them," the voice said. "Tell them the truth. They will understand." Maya looked around the lobby at all the concerned faces. Then she looked at baby Zara, who nodded as if she knew exactly what Maya was thinking. Maya took a deep breath and stepped into the center of the crowd. "Excuse me," she said, her voice carrying clearly through the lobby. "I'm the one who found the bear cub." Everyone turned to look at her. The lobby fell silent. "I want to tell you what really happened," Maya continued, "because it's important that you know the truth." And so Maya began to tell the story. She told them about finding the frightened cub trapped in the machine. She told them about baby Zara somehow knowing exactly how to communicate with the bears. She told them about the mother bear's desperation and love for her baby. But she didn't tell them about the stone, or the voice, or the way her eyes had changed. Some things were too precious to share with strangers. As Maya spoke, she noticed something amazing. The people in the lobby weren't just listening. They were feeling every word. Some of them had tears in their eyes. Others were nodding along, as if they understood completely. When Maya finished her story, the lobby was completely quiet for a long moment. Then the elderly woman who had been worried about the bears stepped forward. "Thank you," she said simply. "Thank you for saving them." "Thank you for trusting them," added the young man. "Thank you for showing us what real courage looks like," said another voice from the crowd. Maya felt overwhelmed by their response. These strangers understood exactly why she had done what she did. But then Derek stepped forward with a worried expression. "Maya, I appreciate what you did, but we've got a bigger problem now. The reporters who called aren't just from local newspapers. There's a crew from a national news station on their way here. And the animal rights group that wants to search the building, they're not the good kind. They're the kind that believes all wild animals should be captured and moved to controlled environments." Maya felt the stone grow cold in her pocket. What does that mean? "It means they're going to search these woods until they find those bears," Dr. Kim said grimly. "And when they do, they'll separate the mother and cub. They'll put them in different facilities for their own safety." "We can't let that happen," Maya said firmly. "How are we going to stop them?" Tom asked. "We're just regular people." Maya looked at baby Zara, who was making soft sounds that Maya now realized were actually words in a language only she could understand. "She says we're not regular people anymore," Maya translated. She says we're guardians now." Claire looked at her daughter with new eyes. "What does that mean?" Maya touched the stone in her pocket and felt its warmth flow through her. "I think it means we're about to find out what this gift is really for." Outside, they could hear vehicles pulling into the hotel parking lot. Through the lobby windows, Maya could see news vans and official-looking cars with government plates. "They're here," Derek said. Maya walked to the window and looked out at the small army of reporters and officials gathering outside. In a few minutes, they would flood into the hotel with their cameras and questions and plans to capture the bears. But Maya wasn't afraid anymore. The stone in her pocket was warm. Baby Zara was making confident sounds that Maya somehow understood as encouragement. And she could still hear the mother bear's voice promising that this gift would help her protect all the animals who needed it. Maya turned back to the group of hotel guests who had listened to her story. "I need your help," she said. "Those bears trusted us today. Now we need to prove that their trust wasn't misplaced." "What do you want us to do?" asked the elderly woman. Maya smiled, and for the first time since this whole adventure began, she felt completely sure of herself. "I want you to help me show those reporters and officials what really happened here today. Not just the facts, but the truth. The truth about what it means when humans and wild animals choose to trust each other." "And how do we do that?" the young man asked. Maya looked at Zara, who was babbling happily in her father's arms. To everyone else, it just sounded like normal baby talk. But Maya could hear the words clearly. "Show them the magic." "We're going to do something that's never been done before," Maya said. "We're going to prove that the connection between humans and animals is real, it's powerful, and it's worth protecting." The front doors of the hotel burst open, and a flood of reporters and officials poured into the lobby. Camera lights blazed, and microphones were thrust toward Maya's face. "Are you the woman who claims to have communicated with wild bears?" a reporter shouted. "Is it true that you helped dangerous animals escape?" demanded an official with a badge. Maya felt the stone pulse in her pocket and heard the mother bear's voice one more time. "Now, my friend, show them who you really are." Maya looked directly into the nearest camera and smiled. "Yes," she said clearly, "I helped them, and I'd do it again." The reporters exploded with questions, but Maya held up her hand for silence. "But before you write your stories or make your decisions about those bears, I want to show you something that will change the way you think about wild animals forever." Baby Zara chose that exact moment to let out a sound that was unmistakably the call of a bear cub. Not similar to a bear cub, exactly like one. The lobby fell completely silent as everyone stared at the 10-month-old baby who had just made a perfect wild animal sound. Maya knew that whatever happened next would determine not just the fate of the two bears in the forest, but the beginning of something much bigger. Something that would change the relationship between humans and the natural world forever. She reached into her pocket and pulled out the glowing stone. "This," she said, holding it up for everyone to see, "is where our real story begins." The stone pulsed with warm light in Maya's hands, and something incredible happened. Every person in that lobby, the reporters, the officials, the hotel guests, even the skeptical wildlife control officers who had just arrived, suddenly went completely still. It was as if time itself had paused. Maya felt the mother bear's presence fill the room, not physically, but spiritually. Her voice echoed in Maya's mind, but this time everyone could hear it. "Listen," the voice said, gentle but powerful. "Listen to what your hearts already know." Baby Zara made another perfect bear sound, and this time it was answered. From the forest outside came the happy calls of the mother bear and her cub, safe and free, and playing together. The reporters lowered their cameras. The officials put away their badges. Everyone in that lobby was suddenly filled with the same feeling Maya had experienced in the basement. The absolute certainty that love and kindness could bridge any gap. For too long, the mother bear's voice continued, humans have forgotten that you are part of the natural world, not separate from it. Today, you remembered. Today, a human child and a bear child spoke the same language of love. Maya looked around the room and saw tears in every eye. The hard-faced reporter who had been shouting questions was now smiling softly. The stern official who had demanded to search for the bears was nodding with understanding. The gift I have given Maya and the baby is not just for them, the voice said. It is for all of you. From this day forward, when you see a wild animal, you will remember this moment. You will remember that they have families and feelings and fears, just like you do. The stone in Maya's hands grew brighter, and she felt a warmth spread through the entire room. It touched every person there, changing something fundamental in their hearts. Baby Zara giggled and clapped her hands. Maya could understand her perfectly now. The mama bear says, "Thank you for loving her baby." Claire looked at her daughter with wonder. "Zara, did you really understand all of this from the beginning?" Zara babbled something that made Maya laugh. She says babies always understand love. It's grown-ups who sometimes forget. Dr. Kim stepped forward, her scientific mind struggling with what she was witnessing. This is impossible by every law of nature I know, but it's also the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. The lead reporter, a woman named Sarah, who had come here expecting to film a sensational story about dangerous wild animals, found herself speaking from the heart instead. "I came here to report on a bear attack," she said softly. "Instead, I've witnessed something that will change how I see the world forever." Maya felt the stone growing cooler in her hands. The mother bear's presence was fading, but her final words rang clear in everyone's mind. Remember this day. Remember that kindness is the most powerful force in any world. And remember that every creature, human or animal, just wants to love and be loved in return. The stone's light dimmed to a gentle glow, and the spell that had held everyone in place gently released them. But nobody moved aggressively or spoke harshly. The change in the room was permanent. Tom looked at Maya with admiration. "What happens now?" Maya smiled and looked out the window toward the forest where she could still hear the happy sounds of the bear family. "Now we do what the mother bear asked us to do. We remember, and we make sure the world remembers too." The wildlife control officer, a man named Jake, who had come prepared to capture dangerous animals, spoke up. "I've been doing this job for 15 years, and I've never seen anything like what happened here today. Those bears aren't dangerous. They're just a family who got scared and needed help." "What will you tell your supervisors?" Dr. Kim asked. Jake smiled. "I'll tell them the truth, that the situation has been resolved peacefully, and that no further action is needed. Those bears have found their way back to their natural habitat, and they pose no threat to anyone." Sarah, the reporter, looked at her camera crew. "Are we going to film this story?" Her cameraman, who had been wiping tears from his eyes, shook his head. "Some stories are too sacred to put on television, but we can tell people about the importance of protecting wild animals and their families." Maya felt a deep sense of peace settle over her. The stone in her pocket was quiet now, but she could still feel its warmth. She knew that this gift, this ability to understand and communicate with animals, was something she would carry with her forever. Baby Zara made one final sound that everyone in the room somehow understood without translation. The bears say goodbye, and they say they love you all. Claire hugged her daughter close. "I think our baby is going to grow up to do amazing things." Noah nodded. "She already has." As the crowd began to disperse, each person changed by what they had witnessed, Maya walked to the window one last time. In the distance, she could see two shapes moving through the trees, a large bear and a small one, walking side by side into the deeper forest where they would be safe. The mother bear paused at the edge of the clearing and looked back toward the hotel. Even from this distance, Maya could see her nod once in final gratitude. Then they disappeared into the trees, leaving behind a world that was somehow brighter and more hopeful than it had been that morning. Maya touched the stone in her pocket and smiled. She had started this day as a simple hotel laundry worker. She was ending it as a guardian of the bond between humans and the natural world. And in her heart, she knew this was only the beginning. Derek approached her with a gentle smile. "Maya, I don't know what just happened here, but I know the hotel is lucky to have you. If you ever want to change careers and work with animals professionally, I think you'd be perfect for it." Maya laughed softly. "You know what, Derek? I think you might be right." Dr. Kim overheard and stepped forward. "Maya, I run a wildlife rehabilitation center about an hour from here. If you're serious about working with animals, I'd love to have you on my team. Something tells me you'd have a special gift for it." As Maya considered this unexpected opportunity, baby Zara made one last sound that filled her heart with joy. She was saying, in her own special language, that adventures were just beginning. Maya looked around at all the faces that had been touched by magic today, the reporters who would tell gentler stories, the officials who would make kinder decisions, the hotel guests who would treat animals with new respect, and the little baby who had shown them all what pure, fearless love looked like. The stone in her pocket pulsed once more, reminding her that some gifts are too precious to keep to yourself. They are meant to be shared with a world that desperately needs more kindness, more understanding, and more love. Maya smiled and walked toward her new future, carrying with her the knowledge that on this extraordinary day a frightened bear cub, a brave baby, and a group of strangers had proven that miracles happen when hearts are open and love is allowed to lead the way. Outside, the forest whispered with the voices of creatures who now knew they had a friend. And in that whisper was a promise that this story would ripple outward, touching lives and changing hearts for generations to come. The magic had only just begun.